The most amazing thing about this movement, non-movement, the fact that the ideas live and they touch people and they call you to service. You don't have to sign up, you don't have to pay any money, you live these ideas and these ideals. Focuses on academics. The children are exposed to scientific It's not in the movement that's the problem, it's the outside. It's getting the word out. It's Dr. Santos, I want to help. I don't know. My name is Sheryl Santos-Hatchett, and I'm a dean at the University of North Texas at Dallas. I'm also a professor of bilingual education and multicultural education. I got to know about the Hizmet movement from the students at Texas Tech University, where I was working for many years. And the students actually came and sought me out and visited with me and actually invited me to go to Turkey. And it was very interesting how that all came about. I'd like to tell you how it came about. The students in the university where I was working in Lubbock, Texas at the time, had invited the whirling dervishes to come. They wanted to bring them to the university, but there was no money. They didn't have a place or money. And they sought me out as a dean to see if I could help. And I was able to help, and I was able to bring them and find a venue. And all the students in the university got to go free because the university helped me to help the students. And that's how it all came about for me. I am an educator, and I'm a multicultural educator and a bilingual educator. So I have spent most of my life trying to bring people together, learning about other cultures and trying to get other people to understand each other. So when I became aware of Fethullah Gulen and the writings and the Hizmet movement, for me it was a natural affinity. And I found out about it through my trip to Turkey and with the students from the university. Well, for me, he's a perfect person. I just read many of his books, and I felt that the things that he's trying to accomplish, although he's very modest and he doesn't take credit, but his ideas live, and his goodwill and the service that he tries to provide through his writings and his speeches and the website, it spreads out to other people, and they hear this message. And that's the way that other people are able to gather what it is that Mr. Fethullah Gulen is trying to impart to the world, which is to live together, to be in peace, to provide education for the people, all the people, not just rich people, but everybody. And these messages are universal and very needed in our time, in our day, in the way that we're living now. Need to hear Mr. Fethullah Gulen and read his books and his articles. The most amazing thing about this movement, non-movement, the fact that the ideas live and they touch people and they call you to service. You don't have to sign up, you don't have to pay any money, you live these ideas and these ideals. And when people of goodwill hear these ideas about living together, about interfaith dialogue, they come to the movement and they want to be part of it. And this is what has called me to participate. As everybody knows, we've been reading, there's very radical elements that have twisted and misrepresented Islam terribly in the world today. And their actions are terrible, and it puts a bad name, gives a bad name to Islam. Mr. Gulen has a different view, and he is looking at the actual scriptures and telling us what the religion really says. and how we're supposed to be with each other and how we're supposed to live. And I think that that message is doing very well for the people of the faith and others who are not of the Islamic faith to understand it better. And really, it's very important to hear the moderation and to hear what is the message of love and the message of education and the message of living together and respect and dialogue. This is the message that humanity needs to hear now. I think the activities of the interfaith dialogue are critical to people, to the movement, and to everybody on this planet. I have attended many interfaith dialogue dinners, and some of the people that I've attended with are Christian people, and to tell you the truth, when I invited them, in the beginning, they were afraid to go. They said, oh, we can't go where there's Muslim people. It's dangerous, it's this and that. And I said, no, it's not like that. This is different. You're going to understand positive things about Islam and positive things about people from Turkey and other countries. Don't be afraid. And every dialogue that I have attended, and dinner, some of the dinner is very important because you break bread together. And when you break bread together, people sit across from one another, the barriers are broken. So the dialogue is critical. What I like most about the interfaith dialogue is the fact that it really is dialogue. It's not just Islamic people saying, this is what I believe, I want you to believe what I believe. That's not what this is about. It's laying out what you believe, who you are, but listening to the other. What do you believe? Oh, that's very interesting. We are not trying to convert people. We're trying to understand, we're trying to share, we're trying to find commonalities. What's better than that? Nothing. That's what the world needs. The emphasis of Hizmet on education is probably, for me, the most important aspect, because you're working with children that are going to be the next generation of adults. And many adults already have their set ideas, and maybe they're not the right ideas, but when you work with children and you bring in children from different backgrounds and different nationalities and children that are at risk, it's not easy, but it is a labor of love. And when you work with children in schools, you're going to make a change in your society eventually. I have visited several schools. In Turkey, I visited some high schools where they were doing a science project, and they had a wonderful school, and the children were out in the yard playing together. I was very impressed by what I saw in Turkey. And then in the United States, I visited many schools where the focus is on academics, and the children are exposed to scientific knowledge base and working together, and their parents understand what they're doing there, and the schools are wonderful. For me, as an educator, I think that is the key to a successful movement. I don't think any movement that is positive, that's going in a direction of helping humanity reach its highest potential as human beings, can do it without education. Education is the key to success. Hizmet also has charity activities in addition to education, which is the other side of the coin. And what we see in our world today, there's so much need. And I think those charitable organizations are the lifeblood and the backbone of our humanity. Unfortunately, governments are self-serving, but charitable organizations are serving humanity. And I think that's holding us together. There's so much suffering in the world, and people can't afford to get nursing care. They can't afford to have their teeth fixed. They can't afford to get medical care. And these Hizmet charitable organizations are filling the gap and helping so many people, especially in places where they're war-torn and there's horrible things going on. Who would do this to help people, if not Hizmet organizations? The people that think that the Hizmet movement is not real are the ones that don't know about it. Because if they knew, they would know it's very real. and they would know that the people that support it and work in that arena are honest and really have this desire to help others. You know, there's many people in the world that want to help, and they don't know how. And I talk to those people all the time. I have students who say, Dr. Santos, I want to help. I don't know what to do. Where do we plug in? We don't want to make a war. We don't want to carry guns. What can we do? And there are many, many people in the world that want to help. And I think that those that criticize and stand on the sideline and say, oh, this is not real, this is too good to be true, they just don't know, because it is real. And it is what it is. And the people that work in this movement, for me, are amazing, wonderful people. I've met them. I've met many people from the Hizmet movement, and I've never been let down, not once. It's not in the movement that's the problem. It's the outside. It's getting the word out. It's having people be willing to listen to the message and to be together. This is a struggle I have as a multicultural educator. In my life, I try to work with people who don't speak English and help them to integrate into the society and have people who have jobs to give, or people that could help these folks pay attention to the needs of others. I think that's the only issue, is not being understood by the outside world. Outside world meaning people that are not listening or paying attention. I would like to see more of Fethullah Gulen's works be brought into the university. When we teach multicultural education and we teach about movements, we should incorporate. So right now, only the people that know. And I think that it needs more exposure and positive exposure. Unfortunately, many times when the media pick up something, it's not the right thing. They had a program on TV in the United States about the schools, and they were making it sound like it was something odd. You know, who is this person, and what are his motives, and there's this movement, and it's clandestine, and this is ridiculous. And so those of us that know, I think we have a responsibility, actually, to bring the knowledge base forward. I wrote a paper on what American education can learn from Fethullah Gulen and his works. And I presented my paper. It was a conference in Oklahoma, University of Oklahoma, several years ago at a conference. And it was wonderful because I was able to incorporate some of his writings from Pearls of Wisdom and different books into my academic paper that I wrote, and how multicultural education in the United States and how our educational system needs to learn from the Hizmet movement and from the schools that Fethullah Gulen inspired. And there's so much that we can learn and incorporate. And so that piece needs to be examined a little more. How do we bring it into the mainstream, you know, the books that the students read? How do we get them to be exposed? You know, it's very difficult to be a leader, and it's very difficult to speak truth in today's world. Our media covers the truth a lot, and it covers it up, doesn't really tell exactly what people need to hear. And I fear that messages, good messages, and bringing people together, it's not something that happens readily. It has to really be worked on. And so, great admiration for this movement. I think it's the hope of humanity, I really do. And I think we have too many people that are either too far to the right, too far to the left, and it just doesn't work for the majority of us. And common sense and goodwill, this is what we need to keep the movement going, to keep human beings growing as spiritual beings, which is what we are. That's what I feel in my heart.
The Hizmet movement is a necessary corrective to the view of Islam that unfortunately has been painted by Puritanism, extremism, and violence.
It's been wonderful for me to get to know my friends in the Hizmet movement. It provides a wonderful counterbalance or an antidote to the misrepresentation of all people of the Islamic faith as radicals or violent or even terrorists.